Hey, if you're in life and you got to make a choice for a hobby, you could collect stamps. Maybe, that's kind of an isolation. Maybe you buy horses. It's pretty expensive. But dancing, hey, you just need a pair of shoes and some clean socks. As a matter of fact, you don't even need clean socks.
One of the revivals that's been happening in the last few years, who would have guessed it, is a revival of interest in waltzing. And one of the reasons might be it follows a swing craze of the mid-1990s. And a lot of people went to swing, and after 5 or 10 years, some of them felt, great, I did that, now something else. They tried the next craze, which was maybe Latin salsa, and they feel, oh, that's not quite me. I feel like a poser. They try waltzing. All right, this is different, but it feels like me. Now, I'm not, of course, casting any dismissive claims to swing or salsa, but I do see people come from swing into waltzing, but they find something else, not just something different. But they find a kinesthetic effect of holding a partner, sharing weight with them equally, spinning around the room with not a lot of figures, but sometimes one basic step, almost like a trance state. And some theoreticians think this is what's going on. We're not talking about anything manipulative, nothing into a heavy trance, but when you're in the middle of motion, waltzing, that's more motion than just watching a pendulum. You're in the middle of it. And that sustained motion, people find that after a waltz, life is more vivid, just a little bit more. You're more receptive. And when we think of the idea of not losing life, having more of it come in more vividly, waltzing does that. You also happen to remember the face that was in front of you a little bit more vividly. Now, that might be dangerous. There have been many stories written in the last 200 years about that face you waltzed with, that person you all of a sudden are more receptive to. You see them more clearly. So this other state is quite powerful and magical, but real. In the world of dance, we use the term lead and follow as a tradition, but personally, I don't think the word follow is the best choice. Partially because of baggage from the 1930s and 40s, the dark ages, where follow used to mean obey. But partially, I don't use the word follow, or I don't like to use it, because it's not true. That's not what women do. The women's role, the traditional women's role in social dancing, is to interpret. And that requires intelligence and experience, like the interpreter, let's say for the United Nations, for a language interpreter. That takes extreme experience and intelligence and quick. You're alive and you're active. Your mind is active. And so is the traditional women's role in dancing. It's harder. They say in communications that the send function, let's say in radio transmission, is a lot easier than the receive function, because the receive function has to be ready for 10 times more. And that's her role. It's not easy. And the men who know that, the men who respect that, are the admired and even revered partners on the dance floor. He knows she made a valid interpretation. He's there for her, not you made a mistake, and even think negatively that she might have made a mistake. So the dynamic is much more fun than those terms lead and follow.